In an earlier video, I mentioned the fact that spirituality has always been a part of my life. Well, Bridgeport was no exception. There was this one room oddly placed in the house in the middle of the top floor that no one wanted to go into. It was like the junk room, storage room, where we put things that nobody used. And it was used to store our coats and clothes during the change of season. It had no windows. It had no door, just a curtain that hung in the doorway. And even in the day with the lights off, it was pitch black. And at night, we would hear all kind of noises coming from that room, bumps and garbles and grunts, sometimes what sounded like a chain or tin cans clanking. So everybody avoided that room like the plague, but not me. I thought it was kind of cool. And I would spend hours in there just rumbling through stuff, exploring and organizing things, to the point that I became the room librarian. So if anybody wanted to get something from there, or anybody wanted to store something in there, they would come get me, because I knew where everything was. But let me tell you about Lazy Bones. At the end of the street was an abandoned church. Next to it was a lot where we played football most of the time. Next to the lot was a candy store where a lady sold candy, soda, cigarettes, liquor, etc. to the black community. And it also had a pool table, so a lot of the older people hung out there. So one night, I guess it was a little bit before 10, I wanted a candy bar. And I knew she closed at 10 o'clock. So I ran down the street trying to catch her before she closed. And as I got closer, I realized, oh wow, there's somebody sitting down on the church steps. It's like, cool, somebody to hang out with. But as I got closer, they were just like sitting oddly, right? And I was like, that's odd. They had their back toward me. And I'm like, that's really odd. And as I got closer, I realized, oh shit, that's not a person, that's a dog. And so I slowed down, looking, and it turned toward me. What I saw was a large white German Shepherd with huge fangs and bright red eyes staring right at me. Scared the shit out of me. I took off running back to the house. I'm running, I get in the house, jump on the couch, I'm huffing and puffing. And Donna was sitting there, she said, boy, what's wrong? And my mom comes out the kitchen, she said, boy, what's wrong with you? And I didn't have the words. I was scared shitless, and I couldn't find the words. And I knew they weren't gonna believe me anyway. So I never told them what I saw. So one day, we were sitting at Margie's house, playing cards, drinking, whatever, stuff we did. And Margie goes to tell this story, right? So she says one day, she used to work for rich people, and in the middle of the night, and they would drop her off at the top of the hill, and she would walk down to her house. So they had dropped her off, and she started walking toward her house. And behind her, she hears this tick, 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 tick. And she turned around, and nobody was there. So she started walking again. She hears it again, tick, 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 tick. So she took off running, and she could hear it behind her, tick, 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 tick. And she's running and running and running. She gets to her door, trying to fumble with her keys, and she turns around, and she described the exact same thing I saw. A large white German Shepherd standing on its hind legs with large fangs, huge fangs, and bright red eyes staring right at her. Man, I freaked out. Of course, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I saw that same dog. I saw that same dog at the church. And everybody's like, come on now. Really? You're just putting your 2 cents in. I'm like, nah, I saw it for real. And they laughed me off and, discounted me. And I'm like, no, I swear I saw it. I never told anybody I saw it. And they're looking at me like I'm stupid. But I look over at Stevie, and Stevie's looking at me like, okay, so then I know he believes me. All right? So a couple of days later, me, Stevie, and Ma, we were sitting at the kitchen table, right? Just talking. And Stevie turns around to me and says, "Lil' bruh, tell Ma about that dog." I'm like, "What?" I thought he forgot, you know. I didn't forget, because that has still haunted me to this day. I still have nightmares about that damn dog. So I went and told her what I saw, and then he tells her what Margie said, right? So Ma says, "Wow, when I was a child, there was this story about a guy named Lazy Bones." So Lazy Bones didn't have a job. He would walk around the branch and walk around backyards picking up stuff and collecting stuff, and talking to himself. But he would never talk to other people. And he had this big white German Shepherd that followed him around. And he would talk to the dog, and they would be every time you saw him, you saw the dog. But nobody could get close to him, because every time he got close, the dog would start to growl and be ready to pounce on you. So they left him alone, right? But one day, they found Lazy Bones hanging from a tree. And the dog was, looking up at the tree and barking and barking and barking. And so when they tried to go get Lazy Bones down, the dog wouldn't let him get close. The dog kept growling and barking. So eventually, they had to shoot the dog and to get him down from the tree. And that was the last they heard of Lazy Bones and the dog. But the legend around there, when she was a child, she was saying that people would see that dog from time to time, hanging around that tree, hanging around the branch, and hanging around the church. Man, let me tell you something. Margie's story confirmed I wasn't crazy, but Mommy's just solidified it. Because I know her, she don't lie, and that was from her childhood. But still, why am I seeing it?